Hi, everyone. My name is Lyndon Nolan, and I'm with the Education Committee of the Managed Print Services Association. And welcome to our latest Ask the Dealer discussion entitled ERP Insights. And we have two guests to talk about this topic. For our panel today, there's myself, Lyndon Nolan. Our dealer guests are two friends who almost can't be further away from each other. David Scibetta with CFBT Solutions in New York. And on the other coast entirely, Jeff Swenson with the Swenson Group in California. Before we get started, let me share some information about the Managed Print Services Association, because this might be your first experience with us, or you may simply not be very familiar with us. As shown here, we have a LinkedIn company page, our YouTube site, and our newly remade website. We have some new ebooks as well that are available around the Managed Print Services topic, so certainly take some time to investigate those. So the MPSA is a community grounded in managed print. We've also been focusing on production print as well as AI related to print and other print related topics. We're regularly engaged in research and best practices as well as networking and bringing people and knowledge together. And the effort includes all companies focusing on managed print services. This includes analysis companies, software companies, finance companies, manufacturers, OEMs. We try to bring it all together to create a picture of the industry and how it affects you, the dealer, which is where the rubber and the road really meet. More information, of course, is available on our website, which is www.yourmpsa.org. So MPSA members receive significant benefits, which are listed online, of course. We have our live stream and recorded events like this one. And again, thanks for watching. Whether you're a member, non-member, or perhaps soon to be member, we're genuinely happy to have you here and hope that you find this time valuable. We also have our leadership circle, which recognizes and awards outstanding vendors and dealers every month. Last month's winners, as you can see, were AIS and Predictive Insight, and congratulations to them both. Keep an eye on these on our website, or elect to receive updates directly via our newsletter. We also have our Managed Print Certified certification, for which your dealership can earn accreditation. It's not the heaviest lift, given that your business already revolves around managed print services. There's also an insiders group for certified dealers. This is a closed group. It meets regularly to discuss industry information and trends ranging from sales, new regulations, challenges with acquiring new customers, and so on, in a trusted, candid, and safe environment. Joining the MPSA, that's a mouthful, is easy. It's also very affordable. So whether you're a dealer, you're an OEM, you're just an individual, or you're a vendor, there's a price that's right for you. And the MPSA is not just in the US. So we have global participation with members and experts around the world. And we hope that you'll consider sharing your expertise as a member as well. But ERP, this is the reason that you're here. Jeff Swenson mentioned to me one time that ERPs are ubiquitous. So whether your ERP provider is an entrenched industry dominator or a slick new startup, everybody has one. Today, then, is about how two successful companies employ their ERPs based on long experience, including uses, integrations, wish lists, and so on. So with that, Jeff and David, welcome. Thanks immeasurably for agreeing to share some wisdom, experiences, perhaps some heartaches, but most importantly, your time with us today.
Our pleasure, Lyndon.
So today's discussion is going to revolve around 6 very obvious questions. So we'll just dive right in. The first one, what does an ERP do for your business that you can't do without? And what would you like to see if you had an ERP Nirvana wish list?
David, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So, um, one of the things that our ERP does, and we are using Avenue from Avenico, formerly Forza, is our inventory control and barcode management. So, and I know it's quite unique to the industry because I believe that some of the other ones out there do not do this. And we have had it ever since OMD, and we did not make the switch to EA. We went directly to Forza, which is built on the SAP B1 platform and had barcoding built in. So we have never not had it. And I know that a lot of people don't. So that is one thing we just really have to have, especially for our inventory control. And I'll tell you, one of the things that would be on my Nirvana ERP wish list would be if we could just get just a tighter integration when it comes to the things out there like the HubSpots, things like all of our DCA products that we have, and not just sending meters back and forth, but actually doing stuff with the data that all these DCAs and these collection sites can do for us, and not just low toner, et cetera. There's a lot of really great information. I just wish it would be tighter.
Yeah, I appreciate the ERP bringing together all the pieces, right? You don't have to go out and piecemeal stuff. And we started out with an industry leader at the time in what was called OMD. And we had a consultant at the time who approached us and said, guys, I can't work in this anymore. I need to migrate you, and I'll do it for free. And so we said, yes, absolutely, go ahead. So we migrated to what is now another industry leader in eAutomate, and that's who we use, is owned by ECI. And anyway, it brings together inventory, contract billing, accounting, service, and some reporting. In terms of a wish list and what I wish we could have today, from my foxhole today, it just more flexibility in terms of customized billing would be something that I could use. It's a little bit stringent, and I've got clients that are requesting certain things on their invoices that I would love to be able to include. That is more of a manual process than anything else. But the other thing is a little bit more detailed reporting, and most notably, I'd love to see the breakdown between, we can do contract profitability, but I'd love to see a more granular breakdown between black and white and color profitability on our multi-function platforms. So that would be my wish list.
That's interesting. I mean, companies live and die by inventory, it seems anyway. So having a system that can ensure that you know exactly where you're at any given time is important. I hadn't considered the possibility of invoicing, for example, as one of those things that helps your customer with whatever their inventory is, such as even intellectual property. So based on that, and based on what you know now, maybe what are one or two things that you would ask of that ERP provider today before you went ahead with them? What would affect your decision?
Well, I would definitely ask if they have done a migration from whatever current ERP I was on to what I am moving to. And then I would ask for those customers' contact information. And then I would make the phone calls. That's what I would do.
So you're looking for trust but verify, right? You want to talk to references to make sure that things went the way that you expected, that it's not just fluff.
Yes, 100%. And make sure that they've done what they need them to do before, or at least have the capability to do what we need them to do. And you can find that out by talking to people that have done a successful migration from what you're about to go to, and finding out how it went, how agile were they, because sometimes it's just a straight arrow. And it can't be that way. You got to make about 5,000 U-turns, left turns, right turns, and hold on to the wheel.
Yeah, here's my long-winded answer. Ditto. I wrote down references. That's that was so yeah. I think they're incredibly important to see exactly what they went through, right? What are the things you can anticipate? What went well? What didn't go well? So
A mature type of thought, right? Because it's not just what can you do, it's what can you not do. So when you define something from both sides, it makes sure that you answer all of the questions properly. So what are 3 things do you think that a dealer should know or look at or ask when they're looking to invest in an ERP or a new ERP or transitioning to a new ERP provider?
Well, I would say see question number 2, of course, references. I will tell another one that I think it would be good to ask is to show me what a growth path looks like. Show me if I add 10 users, what does that do? If I remove 10 users, what does that do? You never know. You could be at the top end of one of the platforms. They want to put you on with pricing, and just one single user above may put you in a whole nother pricing platform that might be too much or not what you're expecting for budgeting. And as we have a lot of volatility in sales staff or technicians or admin staff, I'm adding people and I'm maybe getting rid of some people. You want to know what it looks like for your pricing model as that continues to change. I would also ask about what lines of support I have, including the Google machine. I mean, I think all of the products out there that our industry uses have a very good ecosystem built so that I could go and put a Google question out there, and Google now just uses AI, or you can use your Claude or whatever else you want to use, and you can generally get some information or some support because there's so much of it out there. What about after hours? What about email support? What about phone call support? Is it stateside support? I think if you could get those 3 things there, I think that would be a good thing to ask.
Business happens in the now, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah, when we moved from and this was about 20 years ago that we made the move, right? And so when we made the move, maybe 25, the old system was very difficult to get information extracted from. You had to almost be a coder to know how to do it. And that was one of the reasons when we took a look at the new system, it was incredibly intuitive and just the ease of use. So, my recommendation will be to look and see if you feel that it's easy to use. Is it intuitive? Does it make sense to you, or are you going to have to bring on an engineer to figure out how to do things? So ease of use is an area I'd look at. I also thought about references in terms of this. I think it's incredibly important to get more specific in terms of the different areas for references. Like, for example, we've got a service module in EA. So I think it's important to talk to service managers and have them take a look and kind of vet it. I think it's important for the accounting manager to vet the accounting piece. So you kind of get some expertise in those areas, and they can really flush out, what are we looking at here? Is this, something that's going to work well for us, or are we going to run into issues? The other thing I put down, something to know is that David kind of alluded to, is flexibility. How's the support going to be? How flexible are they? Are they pretty stringent? We signed up with a partner that doesn't even have a contract. He says, hey, look, if you don't like my product, you don't like my support, you can leave at any time. That's how confident he was in his support and his product. And I just love that.
That's pretty amazing. And kind of a common theme between the two, especially Jeff, as you talked about usability. Going back, David, to your comment, is that as customers change and maybe as internal company assets change as well, intuitiveness and ease of use suddenly becomes really important if you're going to maintain service levels.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic answer.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, I don't think you want a product, right, where you have to constantly retrain on or have a certain level of expertise to use. So.
Got it. So based on that, then, if there was one takeaway that you could share with our viewers, what's the one gotcha moment that you think every business owner or leader needs to know when they're about to invest in an ERP?
Jeff, you want to go first this time?
Sure. Although I was interested in your answer, David, but here's what I would say, and it's a one-word answer, man. It's escalations. Yeah. Pay attention to the escalation. What's built into the contract, what's built into the agreement. If you add a seat, does that override the terms and conditions and the escalations that were built in? But what do they have? What is built into the original contract that they send that they can and can't do in terms of escalations? Really understanding those and being able to hold them accountable to that in the future, I think, is incredibly important.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's why I had you go first. So also, I would say that, obviously everyone's going to be in the cloud now. I don't even know if anyone is moving and migrating to an on-prem system, but even if they are, I would talk about data integrity and ownership. I would say, where in this is to tell me this is my data, not for sale. This is private. It won't be accessed by anyone except for ourselves and the support team within that ERP for the people that support it. Obviously, where is it? Is it stateside or is it overseas in the cloud? How are things backed up? Just really make sure your data integrity and continuity and privacy is clearly stated in your agreement.
Yeah, excellent points. So a side question, if I can deviate just a little bit, because both of you are using extremely different ERP systems, some very common things in between the two, though. So as you think about these things like escalations and data integrity and so on, do you find that it's easier having the discussions with the smaller providers or the bigger providers, or based on your experience, has it been kind of a wash with ease of relationship management?
For ERPs, for our ERP provider?
Yeah.
I would say that Avenico has been very attentive to us. And obviously, there's no secret they're smaller of the two. ECI is the giant in the room. So I will have to defer to Jeff about the support. But when we email a ticket, when we open up something in our Teams chat with them, we will get responses, and we're pretty happy with the response time that we are receiving.
Yeah. In my experience, it's definitely been the smaller provider that has provided a higher level of service. Prior to ECI purchasing Digital Gateway, the service was better. I don't know any way to say it. It just was flat out better than what we experience today. There's a lot of turnover in terms of the sales and representation. Finding an area and how to get answers is not always the easiest. So yeah, in my experience, and when you broaden that out just from not just an ERP standpoint, but my experience recently, the example I gave earlier about happened to be a DCA provider. They were on the smaller end, but they're like, hey, we want you to be happy with us. We're not going to force you to stay with us as long as the support is good and the and the product is good, we expect you're going to be around for a long time. And what a great approach, right? Novel, fresh, not contractual. So, and I'm sorry, and it's actually not a DCA that I'm talking about. It's actually a service software that I'm referring to. So,
perfect. And that was kind of a mean question to slide in because you weren't prepared for it, but I appreciate your answers and so on. And part of the reason for this discussion is so that service providers as well can get an idea of what their customers are thinking and where they can add features or make changes to services and so on. So now for the final question, totally George Carlin, change of subject. What workflow or integrations are you using with your ERP and other systems within the dealership? And are you having to move data manually? So, Jeff, you mentioned earlier that invoicing, some of that gets done manually. And I think, David, you mentioned that as well. So, other integrations you have that seem to work really well, or areas where you're moving data manually that perhaps in the future you would like not to?
we've got what do they call them? PIP connections, right? And integrations with a number of different services. We've got a CEO Juice, we've got HubSpot, we've got vCare Pro Suite, PO Processor, credit card integrations. So there's a number of integrations that we have, and by and large, they seem to work okay. Nothing's perfect in this world, but they do allow some integrations. What I guess an area to explore and think about is, the thing that does grate on me sometimes is that it is the ERP, that the company that tells you what integrations they will allow, right? So they dictate what you can and can't do. And in this up and coming world of AI, it's going to be very fascinating to see what will be allowed and what they're going to make more cumbersome.
Yeah, a sage thought. It's going to be interesting to see what the near future holds. Certainly. David?
So, we are, the very unique thing about what we're able to do is we are built on the SAP B1 platform, which is just global and enormous. So because of that, we have integrations, but we don't have the need for as many as what the traditional EA or ECI integration does. So for example, we only have one CRM and it's built into SAP B1, and we only have one inventory control management. It's built into SAP B1. We only have one accounting package. It's all built into SAP B1. So what that means is we don't have to have all these integrations like between the Sherpa or the Salesforce and the EA in the back of the house and the front of the house. So that is nice. We do have some really, really nice custom ones, and MPS Monitor is one that does go in. It does do what we need it to do. I wish we could see a little bit more into there. We do have to use an add-on called Print and Delivery, where I think EA does something very well, which is the electronic invoicing. We had to do an integration with something called Print and Delivery. It's built by Boyum, which is another very large company that builds things for SAP. And when it comes to AI, again, some of the things that you can do. I mean, if you have access to your own database that these on-premise servers can have, even if you're on EA, you can do some really great things and do some really unique data pulls because it's your data. It's your database. You should have access to it. And we can do those types of things being built on the whole SQL platform, Microsoft SQL platform that we're on. We can do a lot of great things. And I don't think we're going to need as much support and professional services in the future with all the AI tools that are coming out. We just need to make sure we have access to our data, that we know it's ours, and it's secure and private. And I think we can then start manipulating the data we want it, well, the way we want it from our own ERP.
Perfect. So buy the package, get what you need, but then customize with AI for your exact business for each one of your customers.
Absolutely, 100%. And let's always just make sure it's ours. It's not anyone else's. You can't just turn it off with the flip of a switch. It's important to get all those things lined up.
Well, thanks for that. Gentlemen, that concludes the formal interrogation, as it were. Before we close out, anything that you would like to share additionally that other dealers should know based on your experience?
Well, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
I hope the Niners have something to say about that.
And you knew it was going to go there. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your thoughts. I want to thank you for being candid and open with your comments as well, because sometimes there may be something you want, but until you understand what the universe is capable of, you don't even know to ask the question. And some of your comments kind of expanded that universe, certainly for me, and I'm sure for some of our viewers as well. So once again, I know you're busy. Thanks for your time and for helping out. And until next time.
Thank you.
Lyndon.